each year, fire claims the lives of 3,400 Americans and causes billions of dollars in damages. The concern, of course, as we get into the cold winter months is that people don't know how to stay safe, and they may not be aware of some of the updates out there. So I'm joined now by Captain Eric Jackson with the Dekalb County, Georgia Fire and Rescue. Captain, thanks for joining us. So let's just talk about some basic tips you have to keep people safe when it comes to keeping warm in the winter.
Well, sure. And again, thank you for having me. We know that we are well into the cold season. Yeah. So the first order of business is the space heaters. We know that people tend to break those out around this time of the year.
I asked you to turn this on in here today.
And I'm sure it'll be of great help.
Yeah.
And people think the same thing in their homes. They figure if I can just break it out, go ahead and get it fired up. They know that the ultimate or end result is going to be that their area or their space is going to get heated, but a lot of times the safety aspect is not really given the attention that it needs.
So how do we use these safely?
You want to make sure that you first read the directions. All space heaters tend to be a little bit different, but they all function the same, of course, but you want to make sure you read the directions. You want to make sure that you maintain the space. I was speaking with a friend of mine, and their daughter actually had placed a space heater too close. Two mistakes with that. Number one, the daughter was actually handling it when probably the parent should have. One. Two, the child actually inadvertently placed a space heater too close to a burning combustible, a bed sheet, a blanket, a bed, anything like that that could have the potential to burn is, it's not something where you want to have
so
a
you need
space heater.
to leave a decent amount of space. Is
At
there a
least
rule of thumb?
3 feet.
3 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what about wood burning fireplaces or even gas fireplaces?
Well, again, wood burning stoves, they burn. There's two levels. There's hot and there's really, really hot. So you just want to make sure that if you're going to burn one of those, we know that they exist in the home. You want to have items available to extinguish that fire or to allow the fire to be able to self-extinguish itself in the event that it gets a little bit out of hand.
Well, speaking of extinguishing a fire, I mean, I'm afraid of having to ever use a fire extinguisher, and you brought one. How do you even, first of all, how do you know when to use it, and then how do you use one?
Well, very simply and very quickly, when utilizing a fire extinguisher, you just want to remember four things: pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. The pass device, that's the pass mnemonic.
Okay.
Pull the pin, aim the extinguisher, squeeze the handle, and sweep in a back and forth motion. And you want to do that backing away from the fire, headed toward an exit. And if you have to use more than two of these, chances are the fire is a little bit greater than what you had anticipated, and we just want you to get out of the house and call 911.
We have about 10 seconds, but you brought, I know, a fire alarm, and this is good for the hearing impaired because it has a light on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Both work the same way. This one allows for someone who has impaired hearing to be able to see it.
Excellent.
And a smoke alarm.
Captain Eric Jackson, thank you so much for your advice this morning.